Hello, Da Vinci. Welcome back. This is our science lesson for this week. So this is our first science lesson, lesson 1, human needs, okay? So, can astronauts take food into space? Talk to your teddy, talk to your toy. Have a think of what they could do. Do they take food into space? Not sure. Pause the video and have that discussion now. Okay, so let's have a look at what NASA say. So this is what NASA say. NASA say, imagine you're going camping for more than 1 week and you've got lots of your friends there. You need to make sure that you've got plenty of food and you've also got the equipment to cook it. The food that you bring with you would have to be non-perishable. That means it would have to be able to last for a long time because you wouldn't have the right cooling equipment. You wouldn't have a refrigerator if you went camping. And that's to stop it from going off. After you've finished your meal, you're going to need to get rid of all your rubbish. And then you need to pack up all your gear and get ready for the journey home. Well, it's a bit like this for an astronaut. There's an oven on the rocket ships or on the ISS that's provided in the space station to heat the foods to the proper temperature. But there isn't a refrigerator, just like camping. You can't plug in your refrigerator. There isn't one, a fridge. So the space food must be stored in a very particular way to avoid it going off, especially on longer missions. And this is when we've got this word non-perishable. The way that I've shown you is I've put some canned food in there. Now the word non-perishable, a long word that what it means is it won't go off quickly. It's not fresh, so it will last for quite a while. This is astronaut Chris Hadfield. He's Canadian. He's spent a lot of time on the International Space Station. This is the International Space Station. You can see it above Earth there. It's a large spacecraft that orbits, so goes around the Earth. It serves as a home where crews of astronauts and cosmonauts live. The space station is also has a unique science lab. And the unique science lab means that it studies things about space that you can only do in space. You can't study something on Earth that's to do with space. You must be in space to look at it. Now, I've added a video to this week's playlist, and it's a video of Chris Hadfield. And this is the astronaut here, the one that I showed you in his spacesuit here. Well, here he is on the ISS. And what he does is he shows you what it's like to make food on the ISS and why astronauts can't have things like fruit every day on the space station. And there's the first part of the video talks about how there's two men talking to Chris and saying, why don't you have this type of food? Why do you have this type of food? And Chris answers these questions. And then it spends a long time with a chef called Tracy Desjardins, and she goes through what it's like trying to prepare space food, because space food is very particular. So this is the video I want you to go and watch. It's a very fun video. I really hope you enjoy it. So I want you to go and watch that video, and then you can come back to this video, and I'm going to set you a task, okay? Right, so once you've seen that video, I want you to talk to your teddy. What have we learned? Well, one of the things that we might have learned from that video is that space food is packaged to be flat, airless, and it's not mixed. So you didn't have the steak and you didn't have the beans mixed into the same packet. They were separate. They were airless, so that they had all the air sucked out of them, so that they're flat, so they're easier to store. And also I mentioned that they weren't mixed. The next thing is they need to be dried, and they're not fresh. So it can be, that word again, preserved, that's what it comes from, the non-perishable, for a long time. Now, the way that the food is dried means that it's had all that air sucked out of it, and it's either freeze dried or it's been dried so all of the water's been sucked out of it, and it means that it's not fresh, but it means it lasts and it's preserved for a lot longer. You've then also got food that needs to be either reheated, so at the minute it's cold and needs to be heated in like an oven or like a microwave, and then it might need to be rehydrated. So when I said that it sucks all the water out, when they're preparing the food, sometimes they dehydrate. And that means if you're dehydrated, you need water. Well, they do that to food, so they suck all of the water out of it so it doesn't go off and it keeps all the flavors in. But then to eat it, certain things you do need water adding to it. Something like if we think about when we have rice on Earth, we need to add water to rice so that we can eat it. Otherwise, it's crunchy and it doesn't taste very nice. It's the same like pasta. Pasta is crunchy until we add water. We're hydrating the food by adding water to it and heating it up and cooking it so that then we can eat it. It's a bit similar to the astronauts. We've also found out it needs to be really easy to prepare because of microgravity on the ISS. If you leave something where it is, it will just float in the air because there's no forces of gravity pulling it down. So if you push something and let something go, it will keep floating away down the ISS. And that's when we could see that Chris Hadfield, he had his burrito wrap and he let go of it and it was just floating in the air. And I thought that was fantastic. It looks so cool. Right, here we go. So your task, I want you to see if you can add one or more of these things to your next shopping list and try some dried food. Now, this isn't the same, but it's very similar to what astronauts would take up to space. So here are some of the things. You've got dried fruit, and this is where all that water, as I said, is pulled out of the fruit. It's sucked out of the fruit and it's dried and heated so that you've got no moisture in it. It's a bit crunchy, or it might be, I'm not sure. And I want you to have a look at what it tastes like. You've also got things like fruit winders or freeze-dried fruit. And I've got one here, freeze-dried strawberries, and these like strawberry bites. And they're like flakes of strawberry, or the winders are like pressed strawberries. They've had all the moisture sucked out of them and dried, and they've been dried. And then there's a different way for you to be able to eat it. You'll still get some of the nutrition from the strawberry, but it's a little bit like what the astronauts would be able to take up in their sealed bags. So I want you to investigate these. So what does the food taste like? So once you've got some, I'd like you to maybe see if you can try it. And before you even open it and have a go, I want you to try and investigate what it looks like. So think about what the packaging looks like. Is it sealed? Is it like airtight? Do you have to rip open a packet to get into it? What does it look like? Does it look like the normal food? If I'm looking at this one here, I know these fruit winders don't look like what they start off with in the fruit. They don't look like the same type of fruit that this looks like. I know, what's it feel like? Maybe what's it smell like? What's it taste like? We're going to try and use each one of our senses. So maybe other than what's it sound like, but try and use one of each of your senses to see and explore and investigate this type of food. And maybe you could share some of these pictures on Tapestry of you exploring this food that looks a little bit like space food. Thank you very much for coming to this session, Da Vinci. I really hope you enjoy this one. I look forward to seeing some of your Tapestry posts if you can get some of this food in. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.